Hey, it's Stepan Hlinka here, and if you are running or planning to run coaching or service-based business, you better stay here and watch this until the end, because today I have a really special guest here, Bryan Ostermiller, who's running a coaching business with his partner, and they grew their coaching business from zero to over $150,000 a month in less than a year. And this month they are actually on track to do more than $200,000, which is absolutely awesome. And today Bryan will share everything step by step, how they did it, and more importantly how you can do it too, right? So we will talk about specifically how they created their offer, how they got their first client without spending a dime on advertising, how they maintain more than 40% closing rate on the sales score for their high ticket offer, and then how they scaled to over $150,000 a month using paid advertising and funnels. So we will cover a lot. Let's jump straight into it. All right, hey everybody, I'm super stoked about today's interview because I have here Bryan Ostermiller, who is pretty cool dude. I was connected with him on Facebook for a while, and I seen massive growth that Bryan went through where with his partner Sebastian, they grew from zero to 150K per month plus with their group coaching program. So super stoked to talk about it. And Bryan, thanks for being here and welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. So again, I would really love to talk about the journey you went through because again, it was like massive growth and it happened quite quickly, less than a year from zero to 150K a month, right?
Yeah, we just had this November is like our official month 12. I guess last month was kind of month 12, but November of 2018 is when we really started to go full force and had 150K month in sales last month. And I should hit 200 this month. So
nice. So it's like from zero to 200K a month within like 12 months.
Basically,
that's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. So yeah, let's talk about the journey from the beginning. So right now, to like give bigger perspective, what's your offer? What do you do with your partner?
So we work with digital marketing agency owners, primarily in like the lead generation space. And we ran agencies for a long time. Individually, we came together and had a small audience and started helping them. And now it's turned into a full-on, really intense program where we take people from anywhere from 0 to 10K a month with their agency up to 30, 40, 50K a month plus. So
nice.
Kind of a high-level overview of who we work with and what we do.
Okay, cool. So so you are like still running agency, or you like moved like full-time to this?
We do both. For a long time, we juggled both and we couldn't do both, and we just did coaching. And now things are pretty systemized to where we're putting a lot more energy towards our marketing agency. That's not necessarily coaching. So
okay.
We do both, but the coaching is the bulk of our revenue.
Okay, so when it comes to that like 150K plus a month, is it like all from just like that coaching program, or is it like divided by
that number is all from coaching?
Okay, awesome.
We don't really talk about our agency revenue numbers as much.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So you don't need to reveal like the price of the program, but it's fairly high tickets, right?
Yeah, we'll say it's above 5,000.
Okay, cool. So yeah, let's take us back right now. How did you do that? So you were running your own agency, your partner as well, right? So then you just like met, like take us like back and like how did this all started basically?
Yeah, man. So Sebastian had started a small Facebook group, and I came into the group, introduced myself to him. I started helping with sales in the group. I worked for Pinterest for about a year as an account manager and sold millions of dollars of ads for them, managed it as well. So I had a really strong corporate sales background, and he and I became friends. We started working together, and kind of our dream was that we would make a course, right? I'm sure a lot of people have this idea. We'd make a course, sell it for $997, and we would build this magical funnel that would just make us rich, right? And as a lot of people find out, that it doesn't really work that way very often. Definitely did not for us. And so then we decided, let's try like adding like mentorship and coaching onto this like course. And we only really understood like this whole course concept. So we started doing that and picked up a little bit more traction. We had a $10,000 month together doing that. but it still felt like nothing. And we got pretty stuck, honestly. We didn't really know what to do. Ended up reaching out to Taylor Welch, who owns a company called Traffic and Funnels. And they helped us better understand this world of like having a high ticket offer and what that means and how we can actually get better results for our clients while making more profit, and really latched onto the idea and grabbed it, had a 30K month right after that, all from organic. And then we realized that we had some crazy potential working together, and since then have grown it into what it is today.
Cool. So, okay, so you started with online course again. Yeah, as you've mentioned, a lot of people seen like Sam Owens and a few of these people crushing with that, right? But it didn't work out, so you moved into high ticket offer, you hired mentor, and you went to 30K a month quickly, organically. So can you like be more specific about what you did to get like these first few clients? Because some people I know are stuck at that beginning where they don't have any clients, they don't know how to validate their offers. So what was like the progress about like, okay, putting together irresistible high ticket offers so you can charge premium price for it? So you can describe a little bit about that, and then how you validated it, how you get your first clients and get to that 30K organically.
Yeah, dude, 0 to 30K is super unsexy. And most people don't really like to embrace that. And what I mean is like, when it comes down to it, making $30,000 a month is just simply volume and opportunity, right? All it is getting enough opportunity. If your price of your program is $6,000 hypothetically, right, then you need 5 clients a month. 5 clients is not very many. And if you're closing at a 20% close rate, which is pretty respectable, right, then actually I'm going to mess this up with math, but you need to take about 25 calls, right, around there. I think that's probably close to the math. But you need to take about 25, 30 calls depending on your close rate. And getting 25, 30 calls on your calendar, we literally did it just by sitting in Facebook Messenger all day. And we joined a lot of different groups, and we would provide as much value as we could, and we would respond to people's comments, and we just helped as many people as we could for free in comment sections. And then we would start messenger conversations with anybody that we could. And during that initial like first few months, we probably had a few thousand different messenger conversations. And we were super maniacal about it. It was like, I'd wake up, I'd sit in front of my computer, I'd turn on music, I'd turn on Messenger, and I would just not stop until I booked calls. And that's pretty much what we did. It was very unsexy at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you say that, because I totally agree with this. It's about starting more, like, if you want more clients, you need to get more phone calls, right? And if you want more phone calls, you need to start more conversations with people. So you basically, like with Sebastian, you just like started messaging people and getting on the calls and trying to make an offer to people who are a good fit, I guess, right?
Yeah, and the other thing that people get caught on a lot, especially below 30K, is like trying to perfect their offer, right? And like make sure that it's perfect. They spend hours like working on videos for their dashboard. They spend hours like planning things out. And they like use all these different things to avoid the actual like outreach, right? Yeah. It's amazing how many things like people whose business isn't very big yet find time to do.
Because it's comfortable, right? It's like reaching out to people, it's not comfortable. Yeah. So yeah.
And it feels like progress, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh dude, I'm just gonna work on my website today. And we cut that crap out really fast. And we just realized it wasn't going to make us money. And we had kind of put ourselves in a life position where it was like, we need to make this work. And so, yeah, we just went straight to Messenger, DMs, and didn't stop until our calendars were full. And that's what took us to 30K. And then we can talk more about like what.
Yeah, we will definitely talk about it, because I'm sure you are using paid advertising and funnel right now. So you'll talk about definitely that. I want to still stay a little bit here. So you was using like Facebook mainly to reach out to people. I know there are other strategies, like you can use LinkedIn, right? You can use cold emailing for some people if the audience is there. So what was like the approach to actually reach out to total strangers? Because some people are using like more salesy approach, where it's like straight, hey, we do this, are you interested or not? Some people are just like starting conversation without any like salesy message and like take it from there. So what was your approach here?
Yeah, dude, this approach, because I think both sides, both things that you mentioned don't work very well, right?
Okay.
They're both kind of annoying, in my opinion. So what we did that worked extremely well for us is we would create a lot of content on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And it was very unprofessional. Just like I would hit live and just like talk about whatever came out of my brain. And anybody that engaged with our content, I would just shoot them a message and say like, hey, I noticed you checked this out. Tell me a little bit more about what you do. And my goal was always to like schedule a call as quickly as possible. So I'd usually like ask one or two questions. I would say something like, for us, it was something along the lines of, that's awesome. You're running a marketing agency. I'm guessing you're at less than 10K a month, like most people are, right? LOL. And they'd say, yeah. And I'd say, hey, I'd love to share with you a few things that have been working really well for me. Like, I'm not going to try and sell you anything unless I think it makes sense. I just want to give you some value.
Yeah.
And like, because genuinely my goal was to like help this person, I felt good saying that. And then we'd schedule a call and move them into the sales process.
Nice. Yeah. So you basically like organically created leads because like everyone who engaged with your content, it's not a stranger anymore, right? You are reaching out to people who raise their hand and show interest in what you are doing, which is definitely. And I know from my experience as well, it's working pretty well because these people are actually glad if you reach out to them, right? Okay, so like you started messaging, creating content, messaging people, you get them on the phone call. So how did you structure the offer? What was like the offer back then that started working well for you?
So I think when we first started, the offer was 5,000 is what it started out as.
Okay.
And because this was actually, I probably wouldn't advise people to do this now looking back, but what we did, because we like just wanted clients, is we basically just said, it's 5,000, here's the 4 things we're going to work with you on. We're going to do 4 group calls a week, one-on-one calls every 14 days, and we'll work with you until we get you to 10K a month.
Yeah.
And that's what we did for about the first like 30 clients. Then we realized we could tighten things up and continue bringing clients on. But it was super open-ended at the beginning. And when I was on sales calls, I was always kind of like tweaking the offer. It was very dynamic at the beginning. And so if I felt like, and I would add stuff in and take stuff out, and it was very dynamic. Now it's a lot more concrete. But at the beginning, it was like I would get on a sales call, I would figure out what they needed, and then if I felt like we could do that for them, I would kind of structure the offer to be specific to that specific need.
Yeah, that makes sense actually. So like, how would you respond? Because I have some people, and I see this all the time, like people and their objection, like, what if I don't have any case studies, any testimonials, any results to show off? How did you like? Was it any problem? Did anyone ask? Like, do you have any like proven results? Have you helped someone? Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, dude. And this is something our clients face a lot too. And my initial gut response is always like, I will always be my own case study, right? So if I was going to help somebody lose weight, I would make sure that I was in like the best shape of my life, right? And I'd be like, just look at me. And so at the beginning, it was just like, dude, look, this is my closing percentage. This is the revenue that I'm doing. Like, here's the case study. I'm right in front of you. And we didn't really rely too much on client testimonials at the beginning. We didn't really use them. And I just always kind of use myself as a testimonial, as a case study. And what I've seen that's super interesting is in sales, more often than not, like the desire for case studies and testimonials is usually like a projection from the salesperson themselves, right? It's like if all you're thinking about going into the call is like, oh shit, I hope they don't ask me about case studies. 100% of the time they will ask you about case studies. So because I like at the beginning, it just wasn't a huge issue. I was so confident in our ability to help people. I feel like that confidence was portrayed on the call, and our content was so legitimate, and we put out so much content and we did our best to provide value. It wasn't really an issue for us at the beginning. And I think the people that have the issue with it the most are probably lacking self-confidence more than anything, and they're doubting their own abilities. And so they're like all nervous that they're not going to have this external validation.
Yeah, I agree. Would you say that certainty on the call is like the most important thing?
Yeah.
I mean, like if you don't believe in what you are selling, I mean, like how can you convince someone else to believe in it, right? I've seen some conversation with some people like who are like, I don't know where it was, but people like who are like bragging about their closing abilities and how they can sell anything to anyone. I was like even if they are selling crap. And I mean, like, I don't know, but like for me, I wouldn't be able to do it because I wouldn't like believe in what I'm selling to someone. I need to really believe in what I'm selling in order to like do a good job on the call in the first place, right?
Yeah, I think like real true high ticket sales is a game of ethics, right?
Yeah.
And like ethically, when you know you can help somebody, like for me, it's like it's my duty to handle every single objection and every single false belief that you have in your life because I need to help you. And when I get on the phone with somebody where I don't think it's the right fit, it's like I feel good about saying no. So I agree. I would consider myself incredible at sales, but I couldn't just like honestly, I couldn't go pick up and go sell somebody else's program without like really understanding and believing in it. It would just be hollow.
Yeah, for me, it's the same thing, and it also like feels good if you like as you mentioned, like handling objections, because some people feel about sales bad, like it's something bad that you are trying to. If someone has some objection, it's bad to handle them and trying to convince them about opposite. But if you know it's actually like they need to have that breakthrough, they need this to actually solve the problem that they are struggling with for a while, then it feels good, right? You are just helping people if you know with 100% certainty that it's something they really need.
Yeah, dude. And if you think back to like the first time that you got sold on a high ticket program when you know you needed it, right? If you think back personally, you definitely had fear and objections. But I know for me, dude, I look back at it, it's like, thank goodness that the salesman that I was talking to helped me break through my objections because he changed my life on the other end. And if he would have been a terrible salesman, I would have stayed stuck and my life legitimately would not be where it is today. Right. And so like, because I've had that effect so profoundly on myself, it's like, it goes back to the duty of ethic where it's just like, I will do everything I can to get you out of your own way so that you can finally progress in life.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So I actually have a note here that what is your like average conversion rate on the call? It's like more than 40%, right?
Yeah. It usually hovers between like 40 and 50%, depending on the traffic source.
Nice. So like, what would you say like is the key to actually averaging this amount? Because I know people like the benchmark in the industry right now is like 20%, 25% maybe. So what's the key to really maintaining like 40% plus conversion rate, would you say?
Dude, I've studied more about NLP and human psychology and decision-making processes and buyer sophistication than most people that I know. And when it comes down to it, like hitting 20% close rate is just kind of about mastering the fundamentals. Hitting 30% is about having really good pipeline and really good follow-up. But hitting like that 40, 50% range is like truly being able to understand what's actually going through somebody's head while you're on the call with them. And while you're understanding that, changing your tonality and your pace and your leadership and your energy to match what they're thinking, right? So I've studied that stuff. I'm definitely not an expert, but I've studied it a lot. And I understand really thoroughly what drives decision and what goes through people's head. And so when I get like objections, I've learned to handle them and help people through them in such a way where it's very rare where I'm not able to help somebody through that. Right. And so to be honest, it's just like a very different plane of working with people and guiding and leading a sales call. It's a whole different realm of understanding.
Okay. So like you believe like that's to like, in order to take the conversion rate to the next level, you need to have the understanding of these things like NLP and tonality and this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So like when it comes to like, for example, handling objections, do you have like some, I don't know, like some template you go over, or it's like different all the time?
Yeah. One thing I learned from Eli Wild, and anybody who listens to this should look the guy up. He's amazing. But all actions derive from beliefs, right? Because human beings are always, no matter what, are going to perform the action that they feel like is the best thing for them. They will always do that, no matter what. Well, as humans, we will never make a decision until we legitimately feel like it's the best thing for us. And how do we derive that decision-making process? It's by our beliefs, right? And where do we get our beliefs from? We get our beliefs from past actions and experiences. So that's kind of a framework I think about. And so if we look at, for example, like the objection of, like, that's just, what's the most common one you think people struggle with?
Need to think about it. It's just like a small screener, right? Money is a big issue, right? I can't afford it. I need to talk with my spouse. These are, I would say, like the most common.
Yep. So if somebody's like, I can't afford it, my first thought process, and what do most people say? It's like, oh, I haven't provided enough value, right? That's like the traditional sales knowledge. And if you go ask anybody why this person said I can't afford it, their answer will be because you haven't provided enough value. But that's not always the case, right? Like maybe the person legitimately thinks that like they just can't afford it and they're like so scared about money and they believe it all the value, but they truly feel like the best thing for them is to hold on to their money. So my immediate reaction to somebody saying that is it's like, I want to understand like what they believe, what's going on in this person's head. So I'll ask a question like, gotcha. Can you walk me through like what your financial situation is at the moment? Like, do you know the price of the program? What's your current income? How much do you have in the bank? What does your credit lines look like? And I'll like hash all that out with them. Okay. And then once we know what the situation is, it's like, it sounds like, I might say something like, it sounds like you have the money, but you're nervous about how quickly you're going to see a return on investment in the program. And your brain's kind of telling you that you're just going to let go of that money and it's never going to come back. Does that feel true? And they might say, yeah, I really do feel that way. And then I'll say, gotcha. Have you ever invested into something in the past and you didn't get your money back? And they'll say, yep, I definitely have. And then I can say, cool. If you got in a car accident, would you stop driving forever? No, you wouldn't. That's ridiculous. And if your goal really is to get to 20K a month, can we both agree that it doesn't make sense to base all your past actions off of past experiences? And they'll say, yep, I agree. Then I'll say, I can tell that in this situation, you're really nervous about whether or not you'll get that money back. Let's talk through that again. Let's talk through what the next 60 days of working together are going to look like. Not like, let's puke value onto you. Like, let's just walk you through where the income's going to come in, where you're going to see ROI. Let's help you better understand your numbers, right? So then we like change his belief on what's going to happen when he takes action, and we can actually help him through the situation. Whereas like traditional sales would teach you just like, oh, like you didn't portray enough. Do you see the difference there?
Yes. You basically uncover their belief and then the past experience that is tied to that belief. And and you just explained that. Then you basically like handle that objection once you really know what is like the deep reason behind it, right?
Yep. And then NLP teaches a lot of different like frameworks for handling that objection, a lot of different language modalities, but really all it boils down to is just like, dude, let me lead you to a better way to think about this. If somebody's like, I'm not going to use credit, I'll say, gotcha. Can you help me understand who taught you about credit? Oh, your mom taught you about credit. Do you want to make the same amount of money as your mom or more money than your mom? Okay, you want to make more. I'm making more money than your mom. Can I share with you how I think about credit? I think about credit in this way. Does that make sense to you? And he'll say, yep. And I'll say, okay, gotcha. You can see how a wealthy person thinks about credit versus a poor person. Do you want to be wealthy or do you want to be poor? If you want to be wealthy, great. Let's change the way you think about credit. Got it.
Yeah. So what if in this case, what if someone asks like, because they've been burned off by other people, like what if they ask for guarantee?
Then I would say, yeah, help me understand like where else you get a guarantee in life.
Yeah.
And I would say, I'm not trying to be salesy. I'm not trying to be rude. Like genuinely, just help me understand.
Got it. Yeah.
And they would probably say, well, like nowhere else. And I'd say, why do you think that is? And they'd say, because life is so it's so unpredictable. And I'll say, yep. What's one thing that you can guarantee? And they'd say, I have no clue. And I say, you can guarantee your own actions. And they'd say, yep. And I'd say, I can also guarantee you that if you listen to us and you do exactly what you say, you do exactly as I say, that you will see results because that's what happens. So as long as you can look me in the eyes and guarantee me that you'll work hard, this will work. But I'm not going to be able to do that work for you. So that's probably how I would handle it.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's great. So let's add some, guys, if you are listening, definitely write a lot of notes when it comes to sales. I love it, how transparent you are. So when it comes to your, one more thing about sales, then we'll move on to the funnel and pay rates and everything. When it comes to presenting your offer, are you more about like, hey, like presenting what's everything that's included and benefits and everything, or you let them ask about the offer and only answer what they need to know?
In between.
In between. Okay. You share some brief overview and then you let them ask.
Yeah. So I'll usually like kind of bait the offer. Say something like, if we could help you fix X, Y, and Z, like, would you want to hear about that?
Yeah, like get approval. Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll say yes, and I'll say, and I'm very vague with the offer. And I only go into specifics when they ask. So that's why it's kind of in between. So I'll like give them like, here's the 4 things that we're going to work with you on. And I'm like very concise because I don't want to create objections with they don't have to be there.
Yes, I agree.
And if you say too much, usually they'll like have questions. If you're like, here's like the system we're going to help you go in, and you like start listing everything off, then their brain's going to be like, that doesn't make sense. I need to ask questions. So I really only want to say things that I feel like are going to make sense. And then depending on their personality, if they ask questions, I answer their questions. Sometimes literally I'll say like 10 words about the offer, and then they're like, yeah, that's like perfect. Let's get going.
Right.
Then I'll say, great. Do you want to know more about what it looks like to work together? And if they say yes, then I say, here's how it actually works. Like, here's group calls, one-on-one coaching. Where do you want to go from here?
Cool. So actually, because you've talked about that in the beginning, it was like the offer was open-ended and everything, right? So right now, what is like the structure of this core offer? It's like a group coaching program with some one-on-one element. How is this structure? Like, if you can give us like a brief overview of how it's structured right now.
Yeah, so usually the way I present it is I'll say like there's 4 pillars we need to work with you on. There's 4 things. Number 1 is your brand, your niche, your positioning, everything in that realm. Number 2 is prospecting systems. Number 3 is your sales process. Number 4 is your fulfillment. And I just leave it at that. I say it better than that on sales.
Yeah, sure.
But that's pretty much what I say. And then if they say, oh, well, help me understand this, I go into it. But I'd say 8 out of 10 times, people are just okay with that amount of information.
Nice. And when it comes to your actual offer, not just like on the sales call, but your actual offer, you are running like a group coaching program where there are like pre-recorded videos, you're on group calls, do you have like one-on-one elements, some support, or how is it structured actually?
Yeah, exactly like that. We have a big huge dashboard with like 15 modules, 4 group calls per week on Zoom, very similar to this, one-on-one calls every 14 days, and then unlimited access to support.
You have some coaches that you hired, or?
Yep, we have 2 coaches. So we try and keep our coach per active client ratio at about 30 to 1, which is really high. Most group coaching programs, it's like 100 to 1 on average that I've seen. We try and keep it at about 30 to 1 because nobody else really does it, and we like having it that way.
Nice, cool. Also, like I guess like you are pre-qualifying because before you get people on the call. So actually, it actually affects the conversion rate a lot as well, right? So do you actually, because you are helping agency owners to get to 10K a month. That's like a main promise of your offer, right?
Yeah.
So do you get on the call with people who have like just the idea to start an agency, or it's like not your ideal clients really?
No, we definitely do. I mean, we have people that are like, I kind of understand things. This is where I'm at. And then we have other people that are already at 15K a month. So we have a pretty broad spectrum.
Okay, cool. So do you find like more difficult to close people who just like don't have a business yet? Then maybe they are in 9 to 5, they want to start agency, or?
Yeah, with people that are at the very beginning, we're a lot more extreme with our vetting of them. But the way I feel about it is it's like, if I don't enroll them into my program, they're going to go spend all their money on courses that potentially might not help them, right? And so I'd rather enroll them and then like, even if they don't hit 10K a month, like get this massive wealth of knowledge, than have them go waste their money somewhere else. So as long as they have their head on their shoulders and they have good motive and they're not just like trying to get rich quick, and I can tell that they are very intelligent and they've thought through the decision, then I'm cool with it.
Cool.
We've had situations where people come to us and they're like, I can afford your program. I need to make money tomorrow. Like, teach me everything you know. And it's just like, we're not interested in that.
Yeah, that's a horrible type of client. Okay, cool, great. So before we move into paid advertising and funnels, I want to ask, like, what would you say is like the biggest mistake or failure that you with your partner did during this journey in the past year?
Ooh, the biggest thing we did wrong?
Yeah, like the biggest huge mistake or the biggest failure that you can share.
I would say the biggest thing that we did wrong so far, I mean, everything's a learning lesson, but the biggest thing that hurt our revenue so far was like, there was a point in time where we like, ignored what people ahead of us were doing. And we like went back to like kind of, our idea was let's sell a course and then move those people into our high ticket program. And in theory, like that does work. And we're doing it on a small scale now. Like we sell front end products that we then have a sales team go and follow up with that lead to our high end program. But we did it way too prematurely. Like our revenue wasn't at a point yet where we should have been doing it. All it did is take away from sales. And so what happened is we made this course pretty much within 5 days and launched it, didn't make very much money at all off of it. It wasn't structured well. It kind of hurt our brand a little bit. It took all of our energy. And so then what happened is like, I was the only one doing sales and I spent 6 days straight building this course and filming it. So then I was like burnt out for 2 weeks. And we had our worst month ever revenue wise because of that. And in all reality, we should have just taken a step back and been like, it's not the right time for this, but we kind of got bored and we decided to do it anyway because shiny object syndrome. Yeah. And it resulted in us having our worst month since we started. So.
Got it. Yeah. So you basically spread your focus into something else than like focusing just on growing what's working, right?
Yeah. And my biggest piece of advice for anybody is like, if your business can't sustain itself at a certain revenue point that you're comfortable with without you being there, don't do anything else. Like, do not advert your attention at all because all it will do is cost you money.
Yeah.
And so now I'm able to like put my attention other places because we have a sales team, we have coaches, and like it doesn't damage our business for me to not put energy towards it. Whereas when we did try and build the course, it definitely damaged the business. So.
Yeah, it's different phase right now with your business, right? So you can you have a team right now who do the work. So, okay, great. So yeah, we just shared how you went with your partner from 0 to 30K organically. We shared that it's all about like starting more conversation, getting people on the call, creating content. We talk about a sales. So how long it took from creating that high ticket offer to 30K? What would you say? Is it like a few months or about a month? Nice. So after that, did you continue to do organic or you started doing paid advertising funnels? And like, I guess that's like paid advertising and funnel is like the mainstream traffic source right now for you, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much everything at this point. So we took our first like $50,000 in revenue and we basically both looked at each other and we were like, how much money do we need to survive and pay our bills? And that's how much we took out. And then we left the rest in the business bank account to run ads. So I think like our third month into the business, we spent like $30,000 on ads. And it's just like, where else does that happen, right? Like nobody does that.
Yeah.
And because we did that, we were able to learn so fast. So for a long time, for probably about 5-6 months, we're only getting like a 2 to maybe 3x on a good month ROI from paid advertising. And then we also did organic alongside that. But paid ads weren't super profitable out of the beginning because we didn't have the audience, we didn't have the data, we were learning, we were figuring things out like everybody has to go through. Now we get about 4x ROI. For every dollar we put into Facebook, we make about 4 out. But it's taken us $200,000 in ad spend in a year to figure that out. So while we were figuring out ads, we were also doing organic as well and use them simultaneously. Now we do both, but it's a lot more systemized. So. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, right now let's talk about a funnel, and it actually makes sense. You basically took the money that you generated from organic, right, by validating your offer, and then you like didn't need to spend money from your own pocket. You just take the revenue and put it invested it back into business, right, back into paid advertising. And what I love that you say that in the beginning the ROI wasn't that great like right now. You was figuring it out, collecting data, because that's a big part of it, right, where you need to stay patient. So in the beginning, like the funnel was the same, right, like you have right now, or it was different funnel? What funnel you are using?
Almost identical, dude. You know what's crazy? Have you worked with VSLs very much? Webinars, VSLs?
Yes.
Dude, this is gonna blow your mind. So we sat down one day and we kind of like made a VSL structure up out of thin air. Like Sebastian's really good with that stuff. We just kind of thought about it. We recorded it on the spot. It's 25 minutes long. And we've used pretty much that exact same VSL for the last year. Like we just nailed it the very first time and it's worked extremely well.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's
I was actually checking, and it's like it's not like most VSLs where it's like scripted and everything, right? You were just talking there and
Yeah.
going through the presentation like really like in like a cool way where
it's
was
almost
really
like you
like,
and I are talking now.
yeah. I was checking. It's pretty fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's worked extremely well, and we really haven't changed it very much. We've tried other variations of VSLs, and none of them have worked as well as our current VSL. And we're actually like in a mastermind with a bunch of other coaches and consultants, and most of them have gone and copied our VSL as well because it works so well.
Nice. So you are using like pretty much the same VSLs from the beginning, and you just like optimized your system when it comes to advertising, having more data, obviously, and I guess like a follow-up and everything.
Yeah.
So to give to everyone like perspective of that VSL funnel, walk us through the pages so everyone understand what's the funnel from the beginning, from the paid ads to the close, basically.
Yeah. So opt in to watch the video, book a call, application. 4 steps.
Yes.
That's it.
So you use Facebook advertising to send people to the opt-in, and so when it comes to numbers right now, like what do you see like on average when it comes to cost per lead, cost per application booked, show up rate, and cost per client acquisition actually?
Cost per lead is about $10 roughly. If it gets above 10, we usually turn it off. Cost per application usually is 150 to 200, more closer to the 200 side. Show up rate is about 60 to 70%, depending on the month. And then cost per new client, depending on the month, is anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000.
Okay. Would you say like that most people, like majority of your people book a call right away or from follow-up? Do you have like email, retargeting
Almost
sequence?
always right away.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So are you doing a lot about follow-up? Like, do you have some long email sequence, or do you segment the traffic based on if they watch the video or something, or you keep it simple there?
We do a lot of follow-up, but if you actually like looked at the numbers, very few calls get booked from lead opt-in to. So if they opt in as a lead, they opt in and watch the video, and then they don't book a call. We get some that trickle in through email, but not enough to where it like really moves the needle. And we've tried a lot of different stuff, and it's where we end up converting those people is when we do like very specific email campaigns where the call to action is to book a call. It works really well.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So and are you doing also and when it comes to retargeting, you see the same thing with email, or it's better? Okay. So basically, like it's straightforward. You send people to the opt-in, they watch the video, and they are booking call right away. So what's actually the conversion rate here from lead to book call on average?
Good question. Sebastian would know offhand. I don't know exactly.
Okay.
If I had to guess based off of how much money we spend, dude, I don't know. I would probably say like 30 to 1, 40 to 1. 30 leads to 1 call book, somewhere around there. Yeah, I guess it would be about 25 leads to 1 call book.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so it's like, that's like 4% or something. I'm pretty bad at math, so.
Me too.
Okay, that's awesome. So basically you have one VSL. Is it only funnel that you use, or you have something else going on?
We test different stuff all the time, but 98% of our traffic goes to that funnel.
All right, nice. So what would you say like was the, because you've mentioned that in the beginning the ROI wasn't that high, right, like you are getting right now. So what would you say was like, because the VSL stayed same, so what was the biggest thing that moved the needle for you?
Just our overall sales process. So like making sure people are showing up, my closing rate, follow-up, things like that. It's mostly my close rate has grown over time. My follow-up has gotten better over time. And then our ability to keep people in our ecosystem over time has gotten a lot stronger.
Yeah. So like the sales process was the biggest thing. When something about like the advertisement or something, or it was just like about figuring it out?
It was mostly on me. Sebastian does all of our marketing. I do all our sales, and it was mostly on me. our level of clientele has grown in the sense that like our buyer sophistication has increased over time. We've gotten better at dialing in our messaging from an advertising standpoint, and we attract higher tier clients more frequently now. But the sales process and my sales ability is what moved the needle the most, for sure.
Yeah, cool. All right, awesome. I'm just checking if we've covered a lot already. I mean, like, if I just like summarize it, I mean, like, it's a blueprint for someone else if they want to start a group coaching program. If you do it all over again, would you do it the same thing, or you would change something? Is there something that big that you would change? The same way.
No,
Yeah.
exact same way.
Yeah.
Because dude, it's like, it was so funny because so many people are like, Bryan, how the hell does like a 22-year-olds go from 0 to 150, 200K a month? Like, how do you do $1 million in our first year? Like, net $1 million in your first year. And I always laugh because it's like, well, we've spent about $100,000 on coaches and mentors. We'll have spent about $400,000 on paid ads this year. And we work like 13 hours a day. It's like those three things. Like what, and so it's...
There's no shortcut, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if I were to have to do it again, I would do it all the same.
Nice. Yeah. So basically, for all of you listening, you have it here. Basically, we lay down, because I tried to ask you a question like really in a structure. So you have it really, if you are watching this interview right now, creating irresistible high ticket offer, right? Focus only on that. Don't like spread your focus like you did. You shared the biggest mistake, spreading your focus, trying to do online courses and shiny object. Focus on that. Focus on one offer, validating it organically. Again, no shortcut here. Just reaching out people. Do what's not comfortable. Don't work on your website or something. Just in the beginning, you need to sell, right? You need to market and sell, and then you basically just took the money that you generated organically, and you put it all back to, or almost all back to business to figure out paid advertising and leverage your time and getting leads from that.
Spot
and
on.
in the meantime, you optimize the sales process. Obviously, we talk about some things when it comes to sales process. So, Asa, thanks for sharing all of this. I really love it so far. We are coming to the end. So, is there anything that I didn't ask you, but I should have asked you, that would be really beneficial for the audience?
I would say the biggest thing that people need to understand about going from, like, so few people even hit 20K a month, but once you do, like, if you can get good at marketing and you can get good at sales and you can get good at leadership, like, you can run the world. Quite literally, like, everything pretty much hinges on those three things. And one of the hardest things about this journey for me so far was transitioning from like just doing sales to being a leader. It's the hardest thing for me. So we were doing like 60, 70 grand a month. We did that for like 4 months in a row, and I was the only person doing sales, and I was extremely comfortable. Like, I was working like 5 hours a day, and it was very relaxed. But the process to go from 60 to whatever, I knew that I had to switch into becoming a leader and like building a team. And dude, it was so hard, so much harder than I expected. Like, learning how to transition my thought processes into somebody else and understand leadership is the hardest thing I've had to do so far. Yeah, in business, like, learning how to close at 40% was way easier than teaching even somebody else to close at 30%. So just some foresight for people that are at the beginning, like, without a doubt, that's been the hardest part for me.
Can you like elaborate a little bit more about like what do you mean by leadership specifically, and what was like the hardest thing about it?
Training and managing people. And doing it in a way where they stay inspired and you're not a tyrant and you're not a boss. But like, dude, we have some of the best people in the world working with us. And I look at every single one of them as a partner, and they're amazing. I couldn't thank them more for all that they do. But like, learning how to recruit them and train them and lead them and build out systems and not just take sales calls all day while keeping revenue high. Like, that few months where I was like juggling training sales reps while taking sales calls and like managing client fulfillment, it was brutal. So hard. And then I would like give sales calls to these new salesmen, and they would drop the ball where I knew I could have closed the person. So I would just like watch money leave. And it was so hard. And so many times I want to just be like, dude, we are staying at 60K a month. We are never scaling right here.
Yeah.
But it's the best thing. It's been also the most rewarding thing to figure out. Like to be able to bring people onto our team and like pay them and watch them grow. One of our top closers, top advisors got paid $9,500 in commission last month. Nice. And to be able to just like give that to him, our head coach like just had a baby, and to be able to like support him and his family, dude, it like makes me want to cry. It's the most beautiful thing. But it's also extremely difficult. I feel like I'm like a dad over here, but yeah, it's been the hardest and the best.
Got it. So like what do we say like was the biggest thing you've learned from this transition to being a leader and to managing people? What is like one quick tip or strategy to people who actually will go through the same thing you went through? What would you say or what would you say to yourself in that stage?
If I had to tell myself one thing, it'd be like, you have to figure out how to show these people that working for you is the fastest path to their ultimate goal. And so like all of my advisors, all of my closers, all of my salespeople, it's like I'm creating investment opportunities for them on the back end. And I'm like doing everything that I can to help them make as much money as possible. And like we have a mutual understanding that they're probably going to work for me for 2 or 3 years. And then I'm going to help them transition into something better. And so everybody on our team, I like try and create a bigger vision for them and show them how I'm the best way for them to get to that vision.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. So you are basically like that keeps them truly motivated, right? They see something bigger than just say closing some deals for you, right?
Exactly.
That's awesome. That's great. Perfect. I think we covered really everything. I'm super stoked about this. I really think that if people go through this, focus on what you just laid out here, they can definitely get to at least 120K a month, right? Would you agree?
Easily.
Yeah.
If they don't, it's because they're not hitting Messenger hard enough. That's for sure.
Would you say, before we wrap it up, because obviously right now, there's a lot of competition and everything. Even like with what do you do? I see many people like doing similar things. I'm even connected with some people who are helping agency owners who have their own big agencies, etc. Would you say that being different in some shape or form, or like communicating it in your messaging is like really important to answer basically the questions, what makes me different from all these other people? Or it's more about just, hey, getting volume and like don't really care about what others are doing?
Dude, we've never cared.
Okay.
I used to care at the beginning and it stressed me out. Like I used to watch what everybody else was doing in our space and I would try and differentiate myself, and all it did is add stress. And quite literally, like people will come on sales calls with me and they'll be like, what do you think about this person's program? And it's just like, dude, I think they're a great person, but I haven't been through their program, so I can't tell you.
Yeah.
That's it.
So you don't simply care. You're just like do your thing. You don't care like to differentiate yourself from other people. Really, you do your thing. Yeah. Awesome. Yep. Cool. Great, man. Thanks a lot for sharing everything. It was a ton. We are like 47 minutes in, so thanks a lot for that. Right now, I hope you have a time or something. I didn't exceed the time.
No, dude. It's late for me, dude. You're just covering
okay. So right now, for everyone who is like, okay, this was awesome. I love it. It was great value. How they can connect with you, how they can learn more about you, or maybe we have some agency owners. I'm sure we have some agency owners here as well. How can they connect with you, potentially work with you? What is the best way?
Yeah, dude, we'll put a link to our Facebook group called 6 Figures on LinkedIn. And we have a ton of trainings like this that are all free. They just live in our group. They're all like an hour plus long. So anybody that wants more training on stuff I talked about with their agency or anything regarding sales, leadership, marketing, we all kind of like let it live in our Facebook group. So we can put a link under this in the video, or it's called 6 Figures on LinkedIn.
6 Figures on LinkedIn. Okay, so go to 6 Figures on LinkedIn on Facebook, search it up. We will definitely include it. No matter where you are watching, if you are watching it on YouTube, it will be in the description. If you are watching it on Facebook, it will be in the comments. So yeah, definitely connect with Bryan and your partner Sebastian. And yeah, cool. It was amazing interview, man. Again, thanks a lot for spending the time here and providing value to my audience. And yeah, for all of you guys, go to the Facebook group. And thanks, Bryan. That's pretty much it.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for sticking around. If you've enjoyed this video, please like it below and make sure to comment I watched it until the end, so we boost YouTube algorithm to show it to more people. Also, if you are new here, make sure to subscribe down below so that you don't miss any of my upcoming content, and click over here to check out my next videos, and I will see you there. Bye.